Welcome, welcome, welcome. Our episode today is going to be a bit depressing. I kid, but we are going to be talking about entrepreneur depression. And if this is something that you are experiencing right now, or you are feeling the onset of burnout, this episode today is going to help give you methods that actually work that you can use to overcome it. So thanks for joining. And this is Jaron Lukas Live, my show on YouTube, which is a live show that has actually been scientifically proven to make people smarter while they watch it. So if you are not currently subscribed, please do so if you like these topics, and make sure you hit the notification bell because that will help you get alerted by YouTube anytime I go live, which is every Monday through Thursday. So digging right in here, this is a tough time. You know, any time we're going through these lows of entrepreneurship, and they happen quite a lot to most people I know. It's almost as if tech and entrepreneurism actually attracts people who want to be depressed sometimes. What I can tell you is that, you know, if you're feeling this right now, you probably have this sense of just not really wanting to do anything. Maybe you feel kind of like a fog, and you are potentially, you just can't get yourself to be your best self, which is someone who's like making your dreams come true. And so, you know, what we want to do here and what my goal is with you today is to help you get over it. Whatever you're experiencing, you can get over it. And these are methods that have helped me get over it very fast. So whereas I used to experience, you know, kind of these lows potentially for a couple of weeks, you know, now it might be a couple of hours, couple of minutes. So what we're going to start with today, and this is really my first step for you, fellow entrepreneur. By the way, I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years now, ever since leaving a private equity job to go start a company. I've raised millions of dollars for my companies. I've helped other companies raise 147 million, reach 100 million in sales. So let me tell you first, I really get you. I really understand this, and I have a lot of friends who deal with this too. So hopefully some of them are watching and this can help them, whoever you are out there. So the first step here, and this one is going to be a little obvious. We're going to dive into some of the really hardcore things that work as we continue. But the first thing is recognize the early signs. And that is super key. What I didn't realize that I could even do this until I started meditating. So and you're going to hear me say this a few times throughout this episode, if you don't currently meditate, you really need to start. This is going to help in so many of the levels that are needed. And one way it's going to help you is you're actually going to be able to detect when you're actually starting to enter these periods. And so the earlier you can catch yourself in them, the quicker you're going to be able to take action. And even beyond that, once you take action, you're also going to be able to memorize how it feels to feel at your best. And that's something that we're going to apply a little later. So step number 1, recognize the early signs and meditate. Step number 2 is, funny enough, meditate. I wrote some notes to myself earlier. So what I really recommend is transcendental meditation. If you haven't ever meditated before, I'm going to recommend a different app for you to start, and that's the Waking Up app by Sam Harris. Just go download that right now. Start doing that for the next, 6 months. But you're going to feel a huge difference within 7 days, and you're going to actually break out. I'm going to give you other tips to break out of this today. But if you actually want a sustainable approach to not falling into this type of feeling again and getting out of it very quickly, you need to start meditating, because that's going to help you both recognize when it's starting, and it's going to help you not let thoughts take control of you like they are right now. If you're there are kind of two sides to depression from what I can tell. There's one that is a physical feeling, and it almost feels like a sickness. I actually think that someday scientists are going to learn that it is a sickness. And I don't know if it's caused by getting stung by something when you're a kid or if it's what it is, but it feels like it, and depression's actually tied to a lot of autoimmune issues as well. So when you think about that, whether it's actually a disease or like something like the flu, like a cold, because it really does kind of feel like a cold, just a really shitty one. It either feels like that, or it's, they're both tied to kind of like maybe a neurological thing that is causing your body to inflame in different areas, and possibly one is tied to depression. So these are my theories. And I'm pretty sure I'm right here. The other that's less of a feeling is your thoughts. So that's why you need to start meditating, because not only are you going to understand, okay, these feelings as they come on, but you're also going to start to recognize. And if you are watching this, maybe you already realize this. A lot of people who watch my channel do meditate. I would say probably 70% of my viewers meditate. But if you don't, this is something where maybe you don't yet recognize that you are not your thoughts. And if you don't recognize this yet, the quick story there is that in the experience of meditation, you gain 100% proof that the story that's going through your head are not actually your thoughts. They're these things that kind of come on their own and leave, and they can leave on their own, or you can force them to. And that's something where if part of the way you're feeling right now involves a lot of negative thinking, you need to either just stop the thoughts and turn to more positivity. I'll give you some insights on how you can do that as we continue. But if you've never done that before, it's going to be really hard. And so meditation, just start meditating. Number 3. So, we've started pretty light, but these are really important things. This is for those of you who do meditate, and this is actually the fastest way to get out of depression. So if you already meditate, especially if you practice transcendental meditation, this is going to help you get out of it within a matter of seconds. And this is going to sound kind of esoteric, but I'll explain. But the solution here is feel unlimited. I love this one. It really, really, really works. And what I mean by feel unlimited is, especially in the practice of transcendental meditation, you reach these points of feeling of pure consciousness. And it really isn't just a feeling, but I'm going to try to keep this non-controversial. So you have these points where you feel unlimited. You feel just pure awareness. There are no boundaries. You start to really understand what infinity means. And it's very cool. Within that, when you feel like unlimited awareness, that's something that kind of starts to help you determine your purpose. But B, it also just helps you recognize that you are not your animal body. And what I mean by that is, real quick, because this whole topic of depression is something that's caused by your animal body, which is the fact that humans evolved from monkeys and other animal types before that. And monkeys I'm kind of using as a shortcut word here. So please feel free to bash on me in the comments on any of this, but I realize there's more science to evolution than that. So as we've evolved, there is that whole style of evolution produces fear responses, and it's really all around fight or flight. And so what happens is, as you're getting depressed, you enter more and more of this, like, okay, like things are going to go bad. Things are going to, you kind of lose your vision, and things just kind of like start to fall inside of yourself. What you need to do in that scenario is have a way of pulling yourself outside of your body and feeling that sense of unlimitedness again. Because when you do that, what that's going to do is, and I'm going to add here, remember, this is a game. Life is a game. And this is a very important thing to remember, because one of the issues we're going to talk about later is the fact that you may be taking life too seriously. You may be taking your goals too seriously. And definitely the outcome here. And these are things, again, I recognize this because I've experienced it. So some of this, if it rings true for you, hopefully it helps, because these things took a long time for me to recognize. And this idea of remembering it's a game, like when you're in that state of remembering that you're unlimited and feeling it, and you're not just like these thoughts that are inside your brain in a very small space, but you're actually like looking down on that from kind of another perspective, that helps you to put your life in its place, which is just, you have a very limited series of things you're going to experience throughout your life. And most of them are completely outside of your control. So just remembering the fact that, like, you're here to have fun, you're here to enjoy life. And it doesn't matter if you die a billionaire or you die worth 100K. What really matters here is that you're enjoying your experience of life. So part of this is perspective. Next is going to be visualization. And this is another topic that you've heard me talk a lot about on the channel. Visualization is very, very important. And there are many types of visualization. The one I'm going to recommend for you here is starting to spend time on a couple of things. The first one is what you want your life to look like. And we'll put an A here. So what you want your life to look like. This is the purpose of this is to get away from thinking about the outcome. A lot of entrepreneurs have this outcome of, I want to be rich and famous. And let's just call rich being worth $1 billion. So people are saying to themselves, well, I should be on a yacht. I should have the ability to invest $100 million into whatever company. I should be able to do all these things. I should be able to fly on a private jet to Monaco and stay at the nicest hotel, and so on and so forth. And these are all things that you might be able to do in your life still. But the fact is that when you're focused on those things, you're actually in the process of kind of looking at a false dream. Because a lot of times what I find is that these aren't things that I actually want. Usually, what do I want my life to be? I usually want to be at home. I want to take my dog for a walk. I want to have freedom. That's something that for me is really important. I'm sure it is for you if you're an entrepreneur. And then we have to define freedom. What does freedom mean, and how big is freedom? Have we set goals that are potentially too high? So that's A. What do you want in your life? And B is positive thinking about your future. So positive thinking about your future is, it can mean a couple of things depending on how you feel right now. The first is recognizing that it's really thinking about feeling good now. So, spend a moment thinking about, what would a good moment look like in the next 10 minutes. And as you do that, it'll become easy to evolve to, not being depressed anymore. The second is thinking about what your actual goals are that you want to achieve. And this is going to be a very important topic for the rest of the episode, because and I'll even write it here. What do you really want to achieve? For some people, the depression is come on in a chemical way. And I think that's most people. But what the depression is here to do, and I think this is important, is no matter why it comes, it's usually an indicator that something's going wrong, that we're doing something wrong. It's a sort of an early warning sign that we need to pay attention to and listen to. So in a way, you kind of need to be thankful for it, because usually it's sort of an early warning sign of saying like, this is wrong. And I'll give you a few examples. One, if you are later stage in your company, this might mean you're making the wrong hire, or you're making, if you're raising around that something in the terms are wrong, or it may indicate that a strategy that you have selected is not going to work, and your body is telling you it's not going to work, and we need to learn to listen to it. If you're at an earlier stage in your startup, it may be your body telling you that you're going to run out of money and you have a shitty idea. I don't know. You got to listen to yourself. And that's why these things that I've been talking about, like meditation, recognizing the early signs, and all of these other practices are really important here. But as you start to look at it, you are just go on a walk. This is what I do. Go on a walk and let the ideas flow. Your body's going to tell you what is going wrong. And one way to do this is to first start visualizing what you want your life to look like. Because as you do that and you see the incongruencies between what you really want and what your mind, which is based off of everything that every other person in your life has told you, especially the boomers. Think about what we were told by boomers. It literally led to the Instagram of 2012, that whole mindset of, we need to project how perfect we are. So the first thing is getting over that. And as you think about what you want your life to look like, you're comparing it, you're going to start to recognize the path you need to take. Now, the next thing is figuring out what will fulfill you. And this is a tough one. If you have spent a lot of time thinking about this, then, maybe you're further down the path. But what I can tell you, and almost this seems pretty obvious at this point, but money isn't going to fulfill you. No amount of money is ever going to fulfill you. It's also not going to be fame or any other superficial goal. So this is something that I've really had to work on myself. I was told from an early age that I should strive to all these things, and it's probably part of a reason why I'm an entrepreneur today. But what I found is going through that practice of looking at what I want my day to look like. So I say, what do I want my day to look like today? And then I'll do another one where I'm like, what do I want my day to look like in 6 months? And I really, really recommend you try this. And then I'll go through, what do I want my life to look like in 5 years, 10 years? What do I want it to look like when I'm 60, 90? And I actually even go so far as to look at what I want it to look like in my final moments. That's a whole other video right there. We won't go into that. But that can be a great type of meditation to help you figure out what you want in life. So it's all about what do you actually want in your day? What do you actually want in your life? What's going to make you achieve? And if you're starting from the standpoint of like, I want to make a lot of money, then start at whatever number that is, and look at your life there and look at what you're doing and figure out, are you truly fulfilled? And what I would poke you on is, are there aspects of that where let's say that number is $100 million. If you had $100 million and then you met a billionaire or someone worth $10 billion, would you feel inferior? Would, maybe they lived their life a little bit more to its full potential than you. Would you feel that way? And if the answer is yes, then that's kind of the place to start unwinding this rope. And a lot of entrepreneurs deal with this specific issue. So, a lot of people who I expect will be watching this video are probably feeling that way. Maybe not all of you. And if you're feeling, if the root cause is something else, let me know in the comments. And if you want to talk about it, hit me up in the comments. I will be more than happy to give you some insight, because these are things that I don't think enough people talk about, especially not a lot of entrepreneurs with experience. And I'm here to help. That's what my YouTube channel is all about. And real quick, if you have been watching this far, go ahead and make sure you subscribe. We're covering a lot of topics that are not just about how to get out of depression, but we're also talking about how to create success on this channel. So we're talking about how to be more fulfilled in your life, how to find your purpose, and how to uncover and actually execute business opportunities. So make sure you subscribe, click the notification bell, and also give this video a like to let YouTube's algorithm show this to more people who might be feeling depressed right now. I appreciate it. So a lot of this really comes down to your purpose. Only you can answer what you're here for. But what I can tell you is that it's going to be a very limited set of all the potential things that can happen in life. And you want to look at what might happen on the upside, what might happen on the downside, and really accept that downside. Live it out in a visualization. This is something that I found to be really helpful in helping you. Okay, I want to give an example. So a lot of entrepreneurs really don't want to work for someone else. And without going into all of that, they may actually completely block out that possibility that they might have to go work for someone else. And the fact that they're kind of caught with that is actually affecting why their startup isn't going right. So if you can deal with that other side of what are you trying to avoid, and then start to look at, okay, now where do I go from here? That's actually the real path to success and fulfillment. So give that a try. And I'm really only talking about that from a high level. So let me know if you have any questions. The final and sixth thing that we're going to say here is just start working. And that one's pretty obvious, isn't it? But you probably really don't want to start working right now, and you just got to find a way to go do it. So, like get off your couch, or maybe stay on your couch, but definitely go open up your laptop, start doing something. And what you'll find is that just in the process of starting to work again, that you're quickly also going to snap out of it. And even if it's just kind of like a quarter of the work you wanted to get done, like just go do it. Now, a quick side note is if you're actually suffering from burnout, don't go start working. You probably need a break. So for any of you watching out here, you're going to know what you actually need. But if you're just like not doing anything, sitting on the couch, you're and like truly depressed, start working, go hang out with some friends. And if you are burning out, that also will feel like depression in many ways, but you're probably working too hard. So just kind of recognize what it might be for you. And if you are working too hard, set some limits. Stop working at 5 or 6 p.m. Every night for at least 3 weeks. And you'll feel a lot better and you'll be back to normal. But burnout's also a sign of you're not fulfilled. And maybe things aren't, depending on where you are, like something didn't go right, or you're doing something that truly doesn't fulfill you, because if you were fulfilled, you would have the energy to kind of see the bottoms, the lows through. So that's something else to look at. I'm all about fulfillment. I didn't used to be this way. I didn't used to meditate. I didn't used to be on YouTube, and I didn't talk about my feelings much either. But I think that if you can relate to that, then these things that I've talked about today will really help you. So talk to me in the comments. If you want to bounce anything off of me, let me know how you're feeling. Let me know what company you're starting. I'll even tell you if I think you should continue it. But yeah, these are going to be really helpful. These are the most important things you should be doing right now. So thanks for joining. I actually have a meditation on my channel that I'll put in the description below and in kind of like the pinned comment down below. So check that out. It's going to be a meditation I did a little under a year ago for overcoming depression. Granted, this is not the same kind of meditation I've been talking about through this video. This is more of a verbal, it's going to tell you what you need to hear in order to put your life in perspective and be happy very quickly within 8 minutes. But also make sure that you go start studying transcendental meditation or one of the other kinds too. So thanks so much for joining. Make sure you subscribe, and don't forget that I am live streaming every Monday through Thursday here on Jaron Lukas Live. And if you have any topics that you'd like me to dive into further, let me know. Until next time, stay visionary.